under the golden sunset dyeing the massive school. The theatrical atmosphere was as bustling as a market, laughter and farewells echoing throughout the schoolyard, creating a lively and bustling picture. Van, a boy with a cold yet captivating face, leaned against the window, his eyes quietly watching the bustling crowd. Suddenly, a clamor of chatter from behind made him turn his head, slightly curious to listen. And a guy among the students was perched on a desk with his feet on a chair, boasting arrogantly, "Haha, I've changed my class to a summoner and even signed contracts with 3 summons, so join my team. Tomorrow is the university entrance exam. I'll lead you all to soar high." A girl in the group frowned upon hearing those boasts, her eyes showing unconcealed contempt. "Hey," she narrowed her eyes, her voice sharp. "Step aside. I'm a noble mage. Do I need you to lead me? How about you join my team as a subordinate instead?" The other guy, as if his pride was stung, jumped up, his face beat red, and yelled loudly. "So what if you're a mage? Are you that great? How about you and I have a match?" The girl didn't flinch at all, lifting her chin defiantly. "Sure, let's go to the schoolyard. There's not enough room to fight here." The other guy nodded sharply, agreeing instantly. Vanthan watched for a moment, his eyes gradually filling with boredom. It has been 3 years since he transmigrated to this strange world, long enough to understand all its rules. 75 years ago, a world-shaking event occurred when the game world and reality merged, turning human life upside down. Just like in a game, levels, classes, and equipment became the measure of a person's worth. Leveling up not only strengthened the body but also granted powerful skills. This allowed people to possess extraordinary combat power. The reason for this change was that the world was no longer peaceful. Monsters from the game poured into reality and demons ran rampant, spreading disaster throughout the world. Vanthan looked down at his own hands, his heart heavy with thought. He whispered softly, his voice full of confidence. "A world where strategy decides everything. How interesting." A faint smile flickered across his lips, as if he had just found something satisfying. Suddenly, the classroom door burst open with a bang, and the head teacher appeared. His stern voice rang out, shooing the noisy students away. "Go on. School's over. What are you still doing here? Your families are worried." Then the teacher's gaze landed on Vanthan. A hint of surprise, mixed with concern. "Vanthan, the university entrance exam is tomorrow. Why haven't you changed your class yet? Are you treating something this important as a joke? Or do you plan to be a jobless Van?" Then hearing this showed a face that was 3 parts dazed and 7 parts indifferent. Seeing his calm attitude, the head teacher hurriedly explained. Although a jobless can learn many skills, they're all basic skills. This weakness becomes more apparent later on. People who change classes gain more stats than a jobless each time they level up. But you already know this. The teacher paused for a moment, then continued sincerely. "Vanthan, listen to me. As long as you change your class, you will definitely get a good ranking." Vanthan smiled faintly, reassuring the teacher. "Don't worry, sir. What I want is more than just a good ranking." But in his heart, he thought, what I'm aiming for is the #1 spot, not just a good ranking. As for stats and skills, even without changing classes, I still have a way to obtain them. Because I have a system, that system constantly reminds him to complete missions, run 100 kilometers, do 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups, and hold a horse stance each time he finished. Vanthan would be panting with exhaustion. Feeling like he was about to collapse, he sat down to check the system and clicked his tongue in satisfaction. Whether it's stat points or skills, they're all treasures that others have to struggle to level up for. But I just need to complete daily missions. Although being jobless has the disadvantage of having too many basic skills, not enough skill points to upgrade them, and weak power. But for him, that limitation doesn't exist. Thanks to the skill points from the system, given enough time, I can max out the skills of every class instead of calling me a jobless. Call me the Alchal Class Almighty. Now that the weak skills are maxed out today, I'll add some more stats. Yes, this system is truly a treasure with a convenient interface only he could see. Avoiding a lot of trouble looking at the stat panel, Vanthan realized everything was as usual. Each stat was increased by 2 points. But he knew the rewards didn't just come from daily missions. The higher the achievement, the more generous the reward. With a determined gaze, he told himself, "The system's rewards have never disappointed me. I must take first place." The next morning, in a vast plaza, a giant gate stood majestically. The head teacher stood before the students and warned them sternly. Although I've said it many times, I'll repeat it one last time. The dungeon has 3 difficulty levels, 3 gates of 3 different colors. When the gates open, the secret realm dungeon will begin and the exam will officially start. The higher the difficulty, the more points you get. The fewer people on the team, the higher the score. The teacher paused, his gaze sharp. But remember, the monsters in the dungeon are real. Losing means death. You must act within your capabilities. At the very least, you must survive. As the 3 gates began to open, The head tier gave the signal for the exam to start enter the secret realm dungeon. The students immediately disappeared, entering the battle. The first gate led to the secret realm of the underground city of Caroline. Level 10 to 15 with 3 difficulty modes: simple, hard, and nightmare. The note stated that the underground city of Caroline was filled with vicious, twisted Carolines that craved human flesh and blood. A large screen broadcasted the battle for everyone to watch. The crowd buzzed with discussion. Most students chose to form teams for safety. Only students from the elite class dared to act alone. Suddenly, someone pointed at the screen, his voice full of shock. Wait a minute. That's not right. There's a solo player who isn't from the elite class. All eyes turned to the screen in astonishment. What does he have a death wish? Another person recognized the familiar figure and exclaimed, "My God, a student from a regular class dares to go solo. Does he want to die?" Someone else observed more closely and frowned. Wait, his equipment is so strange. Why is he carrying so many weapons? Could he be a jobless? The crowd below erupted in a mix of surprise and ridicule. A jobless? Someone actually dared not to change classes. Isn't he an idiot? You only get strong skills after changing classes. They laughed, looking down on Van Den without restraint. Teacher Tramsun stood there, his face stiff, muttering, "It's over. It's over." He put a hand on his head. I can't believe this foolish student is still stubbornly refusing to change his class. If you don't want to change your class, fine. But why would you dare to solo a nightmare-level dungeon? Are you looking for death? The headmaster of Donghai Academy, standing nearby, said in a stern voice, "Trumsin, I need an explanation." Teacher, Trin quickly tried to explain, his voice weak. His talent is very suitable for being a jobless. There probably won't be any problems right at the dungeon entrance. Vanthan stood before a long, extinguished fire next to a mountain-high pile of white bones. The air was gloomy and chilling. Truly fitting for a nightmare dungeon, he muttered softly, his voice calm. "Let's begin." Outside, the crowd continued to gossip, their eyes glued to his equipment: a rifle, a handgun, a scepter, and even gauntlets. A freckled person pointed, his voice full of doubt. With so many weapons and skills, can he even use them all? This is a nightmare dungeon. Plenty of people have died here. A masked man tapped the freckled person on the shoulder, making him jump, and exclaimed, "No way that jobless is running inside the dungeon." Not only was he unafraid, Vaughn then dashed forward at a dizzying speed, as if racing against time. Using a basic swordsman skill, he accelerated. A few hazy, dark figures appeared ahead, preparing to charge. When the Carolines first saw Vanthan's figure, they didn't react at all. But a moment later, they began to howl madly, their eyes flashing with wild glee. Oyaha! The whole pack of monsters charged towards him, their roars echoing like a chaotic chorus. Vanthan remained unfazed, his right hand gripping the scepter tightly. His eyes sharp, he activated the basic mage skill fireball. A brilliant orb of fire shot out straight into the pack of Carolinians and exploded violently in a flash. Nearly 1/3 of the monsters were incinerated. Vanishing in the flames, the masked man watching from outside widened his eyes, his voice trembling. "Holy moly, you call that a fireball?" Its casting speed was instantaneous, and its power was even greater than an explosive round. And that's a skill only class changed mages can learn. The freckled guy next to him, his face pale, stammered, "That's not right. The weapon in his hand isn't a mage's staff. It's changing shape indeed." Vanthan skillfully gripped the head of the scepter. He pulled hard, revealing a sharp blade hidden inside the black iron sword scepter. A unique weapon that adds 5 points to intelligence as a scepter and 5 points to strength as a sword. He immediately used the basic swordsman skill. Gale slashed the blade, swung up, slashing straight into the nearest Caroline, making it tremble with a bleeding wound. Without stopping, Vanden twisted his wrist. A clean sword strike, slicing across the monster's neck, causing it to collapse instantly. Continuing his assault, he unleashed another gale slash, splitting another Caroline's body in two. The remaining monsters roared in fury, their cries echoing as they madly surrounded him. Vaughn then raised his sword. His sword path zigzagged like a perfect dance. The remaining Carolines fell one by one. Not a single one escaped. The crowd outside cheered excitedly, their voices booming. "That's Wind Blade Slash, a basic skill of the magic swordsman so handsome." "Oh my god," some others whispered in doubt. But could a basic skill really be that terrifyingly powerful? The audience was in an uproar. The masked man, still in shock, used Fireball to break their formation, then eliminated them one by one. He alone is equivalent to both a mage and a swordsman. No 3 people combined. A girl in the stand shouted, her eyes shining brightly. "So handsome, You should quit the university exam, drop out, and become a star. Freckles looked up and mumbled, carrying all that heavy equipment, yet still running so fast. Even with a haste skill, it is impossible to be that fast. The masked guy nodded, his eyes still glued to the screen. That is right. Carrying such a heavy load, yet still so agile, could it be he put all his stat points in his stamina? Freckles shook his head. If that is the case, how could his fireball spell be so powerful? The masked guy still could not take his eyes off the screen. His wind/tower is also incredibly terrifying. The dean stood with his hands behind his back, his sharp gaze observing just what is the deal with this kid. His skill power clearly far exceeds the standard teacher tram. Sin scratched his head and said hesitantly, his talent is all-purpose. It can upgrade basic skills by 2 stages. At the age of 12 to 25, a small number of people will awaken their own talents. And depending on the talent, their choice of class will also differ. People with magic-type talents usually choose classes like mage. Those who awaken combat talents that increase critical hit rate or physical strength will choose swordsman or warrior. Others possess lifestyle skill talents like cooking or crafting. It also greatly affects the choice of second class. The dean sighed, speaking slowly. Unfortunately, the all-purpose talent can only upgrade basic skills to C rank. C rank is the limit. It is powerful at the beginning, but will not keep up later on. A man in a vest chimed in, and his combat talent is truly top tier, and his magic is precise. His skill combinations are perfect. The girl in yellow nodded, but the level restriction is too low. There is no future in it not worth nurturing. Teacher Tramsin sighed. That is why I advised him to change his class. He will fall further and further behind in dungeons later on. Ben had already wiped out the horde of Carolines on the path. Blood dripped from his blade, with every step leaving a red trail on the ground. He stopped in front of a large gate, the entrance to the next room. As the door opened, a piercing, grating sound echoed, and down the hallway, a dense crowd of Carolines was already waiting. Their types were far more diverse than the initial monsters. They stared at Van. Then, with ravenous eyes, as if wanting to tear him to shreds instantly, before him stood a massive army of goblins. Level 12, red goblin, bronze quality, proficient in fireball and blazing fire barrage. Level 14, goblin chieftain silver quality, possessing berserk shockwave and war stomp. Finally, there was the level 12 goblin knight bronze quality with precise throw and self. Berserk Van then activated his appraisal skill, the corner of his lip curling into a cunning smile. There are even blue goblins using water attribute magic and goblin warrior mages. Quite a complete army you have here. Nearly 100 goblins, and the terrain is disadvantageous. This will be interesting. The goblin chieftain pointed directly at him and growled in an order. Immediately, a group of goblin cavalry charged forward on their mounts with sharp spears. Others beat drums, creating a resounding sound to encourage their comrades. Red goblins and blue goblins stood in the back, one casting fireballs, the other shooting ice. They looked at Vanthan with sinister smiles. He mumbled his analysis, enhanced cavalry charging forward. Mages casting from the back. Letting you coordinate will be a pain. Vanthan raised his scepter and activated the priest's basic skill. Light illumination of blinding light radiated out. It caused the goblins and their mounts to become disoriented, their vision completely obscured. The panicked mounts tumbled backwards, creating a chaotic scene. A red goblin that was casting a spell suddenly sneezed. As if sensing a bad omen, Vanthan immediately used the assassin's stealth skill in a flash. He appeared behind a red goblin, placing his dagger against its neck and speaking in a cold voice. Taking out the most dangerous mage first is basic strategy. As soon as he finished speaking, he used his backstab skill, taking down the red goblin in an instant. Seeing its comrade killed, the goblin chieftain roared, ordering the rest to surround Vanthan. The goblins roared in unison and charged. Vanthan stomped his foot hard, activating the assassin's cloning technique, creating 2 clones with 3/5 of his original power. Proficient in all basic skills, he continuously unleashed backstab, heart piercer, and rupturing strike, taking down goblin after goblin. In the blink of an eye, the number of monsters decreased rapidly. The goblin chieftain watched as its comrades were massacred. Trembling with rage, its eyes blazing like fire, it roared and leapt towards Vanthan. He jumped back neatly, dodging the attack, and said calmly, "It is not time to fight you yet." He raised his scepter high, activating the summoner's basic skill, Summon Water Elemental. Suddenly, a blue goblin rushed forward, grinning sinisterly, causing Vanthan to be slightly startled. Outside, the crowd watching the screen suddenly erupted in anger as the feed was cut, switching the scene to another student. Damn it! Who wants to watch some elite class swordsmen? Show the classless one now. The audience threw things at the screen to express their outrage. Switch back right now, or I will curse your whole family in the broadcast room. A staff member in black said awkwardly, "This student has been on screen for over 3 minutes. Can we not show someone else?" The person with glasses standing behind him smacked him hard on the head and yelled, "What do you know about viewership? Switch it back quickly. I want to keep watching too in the stands." A blindfolded guy spoke up. Instant cast magic, incredibly powerful swordsman skills, and even perfect control as an assassin. The person next to him added, "He even used summoning magic. This kid is a real monster," an assassin instructor chimed in. "He teaches the assassin class and knows its difficulty well. If the timing is off by just a little, the damage will drop significantly. But his execution is as perfect as a textbook. Many professional assassins are not even as good as him. He is a true combat genius." Hearing the familiar voice, the people in the stands looked up and stammered, "Hello, teacher." On the big screen, Vanthan's battle was finally being shown again. The audience cheered wildly, their voices filled with excitement. Look, it is finally back on. He summoned 3 water elementals to deal with the regular goblins. But where is he? The blindfolded guy pointed to a corner of the screen, his voice filled with astonishment. "Look, he is soloing the boss, and he has already kited out its entire berserk timer inside the dungeon." Vanden stood opposite the goblin chieftain. His eyes were ice cold as he thought to himself, "Here it comes, the ultimate boss fight. 3, 2, 1. This is a nightmare-level boss. Without using a few tricks, I am afraid it will be big trouble." He quickly activated the mechanic's basic skill leg trap, a cleverly placed trap. It locks the enemy for 2 seconds, taking advantage of the moment the goblin chieftain was caught in the trap. Van then unleashed a fireball spell. A blazing sphere flew straight into the boss's face. The flames erupted, burning one side of its face and damaging its left eye. The monster roared in anger and charged forward to retaliate. But after just a few steps, it suddenly stopped, a look of utter confusion on its face. At the boss' feet, a time bomb emitted a rapid beeping sound. Just a few seconds later, a terrifying explosion rang out thick with smoke and dust. The surrounding goblins could only stand frozen. Watching the chieftain get sent flying, Vanthan stood to the side, his gaze cold, not letting his guard down for a moment. As the smoke gradually cleared, he spoke in a calm, yet challenging tone. "Still pretending. At this level, I am still far from being able to kill you from the smokescreen." The boss staggered out, its entire body charred black, its eyes glowing blood red and rage to the extreme. Without giving a chance to counterattack, Vanthan immediately unleashed the Ice Mage's basic skill. Frostbolt's sharp icicles shot out, reducing the boss's attack and movement speed by 35%. It collapsed to the ground, its body trembling. Not stopping there, Vanthan continued to press his advantage with a series of skills. The mechanic's drone launch port, the mage's lightning bolt, and water lance. Then the summoner's water spirit manipulation. A storm of skills rained down, leaving the boss battered and broken, howling miserably and covered in wounds. The audience outside watching through the screen was completely stunned. A girl's eyes went wide as she stammered this. "This goblin centurion boss is so pitiful." The guy in blue next to her added in an amazed tone, "To be tortured from a perfectly healthy state to this miserable condition is truly being toyed with to death." The blonde girl nodded and analyzed. From the moment Vanthan used Fireball to blind its vision, causing the centurion to fall into the trap, everything was already set in place. She added in an admiring tone, "The control skills from the combined classes are so perfect, leaving the opponent no room to retreat. What is rare is that he does not just spam skills randomly. Instead, he carefully calculates the elemental combinations. Water combined with lightning paralyzed the centurion, plus the vines binding it tightly, and the speed reduction made it completely helpless." The blue-haired woman chimed in, emphasizing, more importantly, he locked down the boss legs, preventing it from using War Stomp, its strongest ultimate skill that was the key to victory. The man holding a cigarette added, "You have to admit, the classless one has so many skills, yet he controls them so skillfully, it is unimaginable. The effort he must have put into practicing." He turned to teacher Tram Sin and laughed heartily. "Old Tram, at this rate, that Vanthan from your class will make it into the top 5 of the province." For sure, the blue-haired woman agreed. "He might even break our school's record." Teacher Tramsin scratched his head and laughed awkwardly, his heart swelling with pride. Old Tram, the dean standing next to him, burst out laughing. "Ha, he all can keep your praise in my opinion. He will make it to the top no matter what. Our school's record is only top 9 in the province. This kid will bring glory to our school." Old Tram, he patted Teacher Tram Sin's shoulder. "Come here and sit next to me." Teacher Tram Sin forced a smile and replied, "I knew that kid was not simple." As expected, he did not disappoint me in the stands. A spectator in gray raised his hand excitedly. The classless is the true meta for this version. A girl with a headband turned to the person in brown, her eyes sparkling. The classless is so cool. Mastering hundreds of low-level skills from every class teacher. I do not want to be a mage anymore. I want to be a classless and imitate Senior Van. The person in brown rapped her hard on the head and said in a stern voice, "Follow his path." Do you think you have what it takes? You can't even use a magic staff proficiently, and you want to learn to be a remnant. Do you even know how to hold a sword, a gun, or a dagger? Get that ridiculous idea out of your head right now. Being a remnant and actually surviving are two different things. This isn't a game. It's reality, and one small mistake means instant death. She emphasized in a low voice. He is someone for us to learn from, not to imitate. Inside the instance, Vanthan quietly stepped over a pile of goblin corpses, muttering, "Small fry, done now, for the next step." Outside, the man in gray exclaimed in shock, "What? He defeated the boss and isn't resting so arrogant." The girl with the headband wondered why he was heading straight for the next round. Even the dean frowned and remarked, "Too hasty, far too hasty. The other students haven't even reached the boss room yet. He has plenty of time to rest." He glanced at Teacher Transign, his voice reproachful. "How did you teach him?" Teacher Transign stammered, "And wants to save time. The clear time is also part of the evaluation criteria." He sighed worriedly, but his summoned creature hasn't even expired yet. Not resting to recover is too dangerous. The brown road man in the stands commented, "This behavior is just asking for death. The school finally gets a genius after so long, and now he's about to throw his life away." The girl with the headband retorted, "Not necessarily Senior Van that hasn't used the pistol combat shotgun gauntlets or shield he's carrying. He definitely still has an ace up his sleeve." The brown road man shook his head. "I admit he's skilled, but he can't be a master of every basic class. I'm sure he's just carrying that gear for show his proficiency can't be high." She continued, "The next round is full of high-level monsters. There are no more small fry. Even a tiny mistake means death, and his mana consumption will be severe. By not resting, he's just asking for trouble." Inside the instance, Vanthan channeled his energy, his hands glowing with a blue aura. He murmured, "No more small fry, just high-level goblin mages and shamans." "Interesting." He touched 2 fingers to his forehead, his sharp gaze glancing back as he whispered, "The summon is about to disappear. I have to make the most of this final moment." Stepping into the next round, countless goblins and shamans were already waiting, roaring loudly when they saw him. The goblin mages cast spells, launching streams of blue energy, red and brilliant yellow. Vanthan pointed and commanded, "Go block for me." The summon immediately formed a defensive line in front of him. A series of earth-shaking explosions rang out. From the thick smoke, Vaughn then emerged with 2 cannons on his shoulders. With a determined gaze, he said, "Next, let's cover them in firepower." His brow furrowed slightly, his eyes shining with intense resolve. The 4 deans watched and commented thoughtfully. The gunslinger class has quick draw, critical shot, rapid reload, eager pursuit, ricochet, explosive shot, aerial shot, and many other skills. This is the class with the most basic skills. It's also the most complex of all classes, Head Tier Transign continued in a deep, thoughtful voice. However, the difficulty of the gunslinger class lies not only in its shooting techniques, but also in its passive skills. Eager pursuit to achieve maximum damage, every shot must be a perfect hit, making it extremely challenging to use in actual combat. The brown road man in the stands interjected with an experienced tone. The skills of the remnant class are inherently complex. On top of the basic gunslinger techniques, one must also master throwing a spear into the goblin horde to continuously increase the damage they take. Vanthan stood proudly amidst the piles of goblin corpses, his cold, sharp eyes carefully observing every direction. The crowd watching on the screen exploded with astonished, bustling chatter. "This is just too ridiculous. Every shot is a headshot. Isn't this his own personal killing spree? Just what terrifying level of marksmanship is that? I couldn't shoot a stationary target that accurately. He's so handsome. Oh my God, let me die by his gun. I declare that Senior Vanthan is now my new husband. I want to be Senior's little sweetheart." The girl with the headband gushed her eyes sparkling. Senior Vanthan doesn't just know how to use a gun. He's a god of marksmanship. The brown road man next to her looked embarrassed, sweat dotting his forehead as he stammered in admission. "I take back what I said before. He truly is an unprecedented genius. I've never seen a student this strong before. Even the previous top scorers were no match for him." The dean burst out laughing, his eyes twinkling with satisfaction. "Haha, just as I predicted. He's not just reckless, but also brave and resourceful." Hearing this, Transient thought to himself, "That's not what you were saying earlier." The black-robed man, standing nearby, spoke up, his voice full of doubt. I've noticed something strange. Up until now, Vanden still hasn't used a single potion. According to the rules, using some common health or mana potions is allowed. The green-haired woman nodded and added, that's right. Aside from instant recovery status potions, other common types are allowed. Other students have already drunk their fill of potions, yet he hasn't touched a single one. Transcend finally spoke up in a thoughtful voice. It's not that he isn't using them. He didn't bring any at all. With the limited space in his backpack, he stuffed it full of weapons, explosives, traps, and on top of that, a whole bunch of ammunition. I'm afraid his backpack has been full for a long time. The dean added his sharp gaze, not missing a single detail. Should we call him reckless or confident? Suddenly, Vanthan drew his gun and fired a single bullet. Just that small action made the crowd watching on the screen stir. Look, Senior Vanthan is making a move. I wonder what he's going to do next. Could it be that he's not going to rest and will head to the next room on his side? Vanthan muttered to himself in a low voice. The chamber is full and overloaded. I've pulled the trigger too many times. It's made both guns useless. In the end, they're just weapons made of black iron. You have fulfilled your purpose. With that said, he tossed the two guns behind him without a hint of regret for his action. The dean's eyes widened in shock. The guns were used until they broke. Transcend quickly replied, his voice tinged with helplessness. They're super low-grade, super cheap black iron tear. Hearing this, the dean's voice trembled with anger. What? What kind of head tier are you? How could you let a student use scrap metal for the university entrance exam? Transcend hurriedly explained, breaking out in a sweat. He actually can't afford anything better. He has no father or mother. His family is very poor, and on top of that, he has a younger sister to take care of. I understand Vanthan's family situation. The dean was moved, his eyes turning red as he sighed. Why didn't you tell me sooner? If you told me earlier, I would have bought him better equipment. But now he's already inside the instance. There's nothing we can do, even if we wanted to. Yes. Vanthan calmly approached the third gate and pushed it open. The green-haired woman shouted in an excited voice, it's about to start. The next room is the final boss. Tron Sin let out a breath, his voice full of expectation. With Vanthan's current score, if he can get a quick kill, he could become the provincial champion. The dean's eyes shone brightly, his voice full of pride. A new provincial champion. Our school has never had a provincial champion in its history. If he succeeds, I as the headmaster would also be recorded in the annals of history. He glanced at Tron Sin and said sternly, a good seed who could bring glory to the school. If he fails because of his terrible equipment, your teaching position, don't even think about it. Transcend trembled, only able to look up and pray silently. Then you must hold on. The stands were buzzing. No one dared to look away from the screen. The real test is about to begin. Senior Vanthan is about to enter the final boss room. I'm afraid the others haven't even finished fighting the Centurion yet. Maybe he really can become the provincial champion. We're about to witness history. He hasn't even touched the war spear on his back yet. Maybe he still hasn't revealed his true strength. This is so exciting. Just as it was getting to the climax, the broadcast screen suddenly filled with static. The crowd angrily cursed. Damn it. Why did the screen cut out at the most important moment? Did everyone in the broadcast room die, or something? That's outrageous. In the broadcast room, the black-robed girl frantically pointed at the screen. Wait, this situation isn't right. On the screen, someone inside died. They're dead. Someone's dead. The person who died is a student from the rocket class. I just said hi to him yesterday, and now he's dead. The audience was in an uproar at the scene of death that appeared. Everyone had been so focused on watching Senior Vanthan open the final boss room door that they forgot about the other candidates stuck at the gate. Two were confronting the Centurion. The death toll kept rising. Most of them taken down by the Centurion. That senior just used a town portal scroll and was killed instantly. That was the light from a town portal scroll. A few seniors have given up on the instance and come out. Just a few seconds later, many candidates staggered out of the gate. The arrogant white-robed guy from before, now covered in blood, stumbled out, his voice trembling, too dangerous. If I hadn't been quick, I would have died in there. The woman next to him also spoke, her voice full of frustration. Damn it, I couldn't get past the Centurion's "were you lying flat on the ground," struggled to say. I couldn't even get past the second gate. I'm afraid no school will accept me now. I can't accept this. The gray-robed man in the stands, his face bewildered, muttered. We were so focused on Senior Vanthan's side that we forgot this is the hardest exam ever. The girl with the headband added, her voice trembling. The seniors are so much stronger than us, and yet they were still defeated, even killed. Forget about clearing the instance. Just surviving until the end is already incredibly difficult. I couldn't do it. Even if I studied for another year, I couldn't kill the Centurion like Senior Vanthan did. The man in the gray shirt continued tearfully. Dealing with the Centurion's berserk state is just too difficult. I don't want to learn anymore. I don't want to die. I don't want to be killed, the dean ordered in a steely voice. Switch the screen over to Yun-shun. Someone needs to step up and boost everyone's morale. Jan Shang, standing behind Long, was secretly pleased, thinking that in previous years after the junior students were demoralized, the school would usually show images of elite students from the rocket class. But this year, the dean chose Yun-shun from their class, which showed that Yun-shun had far surpassed the other candidates. In his eyes, the screen quickly switched on the dean's command. The crowd buzzed again. The screen switched back. It's Senior Yun-shun. He's about to start. Senior Yun-shun was facing the final boss. Yun-shun calmly stepped through the gate before him. The boss, reigning on a throne of ice, suddenly spoke in a human voice. Human, this is not a place you should tread. It was a level 16 goblin monarch monster with gold rank potential, possessing formidable skills and a signature blood-red cloak. The symbol of the goblin monarch. Yunin calmly met its cold gaze. Worthy of a nightmare difficulty final boss. This pressure is truly rare, and it can even speak human language. This is the first time I've seen something so interesting, but unfortunately, you only have 20 seconds to live. As he spoke, he drew the war spear from his back and activated the first skill of a war monk blood rage. The crowd outside erupted in discussion. That's the war monk's skill, blood rage. It boosts all attributes by 80% for 20 seconds. Attack speed, movement speed, and armor penetration increased by 75%. But after 20 seconds, the buff wears off and he'll be weakened for 3 minutes with all attributes reduced by 75%. He's finally using his long spear, putting his life on the line. He used blood rage right at the beginning as Yun-shun trying to risk it all against the boss. So decisive. If he can't win within 20 seconds, he won't even have a chance to retreat, Jin Shang exclaimed in a panic. Too risky. That's way too risky. Can't he just drag it out and then kill it? Why is he risking his life right from the start? The dean trembled with anger, growling, "This brat is going to be the death of me. Get my blood pressure medication quick." As time was running out, Yun-shun charged straight toward the boss without a second thought. The boss was stunned by his speed. This human is so fast, but it's a pity he's still too weak. As Yun-shun closed in, the boss swung its sharp blade. The blow was so powerful it shattered the ground. The girl with the headband screamed in horror. Oh my god, Senior Yun-shun was killed in a single strike. The guy in the gray shirt chimed in despairingly. The attributes of a nightmare-level boss are just too strong. Even with blood rage, it's still too difficult. The dean suddenly collected himself, his eyes brightening. No, that's wrong. The one killed was a clone. That clever brat. While the goblin monarch was distracted, he used a clone to draw its attention while his real body had already circled around behind it. Just as the dean predicted, Yunnan silently appeared behind the boss. The sharp tip of his war spear aimed straight at the enemy as he used the first skill of an assassin. Yun-shun drew a long line from the top of the boss' head down to its feet, exactly the same way it had disposed of his clone just moments before. Caught by surprise, the horrified boss whipped its head around to look. But before it could react, the spear pierced through one of its eyes. Yun-shun roared, "Activate Radiant Light." Pushing the spear deeper into its socket, the room was instantly filled with a brilliant blue radiance from the weapon. The boss clutched its eye. It shrieked wretchedly in excruciating pain. Unrelenting Yun-shun drove the spear deeper into its body, muttering, "Time to finish you while you're weak." The system displayed a notification warning. Your underhanded tactics have enraged the goblin monarch. It has entered a berserk state due to extreme fury. The boss ground its teeth. A dark swirling aura erupted from its body. Its head recoiled from the spear tip, and suddenly tiny cracks appeared on Yunin's weapon. A moment later, it shattered completely. Yunin gritted his teeth staring at his destroyed weapon. He looked at the boss and wondered, is this because of its berserk state? The control duration has been shortened. An earth-shattering explosion resounded as swirling smoke and dust completely obscured the view. The boss frowned, bewildered and unable to locate Yun-shun. While the enemy was confused, Yun-shun secretly activated the first skill of the tail class tail wrap. He launched a tendril that coiled tightly around the boss, temporarily binding it. He thought to himself, 13 seconds of blood rage left. The real show is about to begin. The boss gave a cunning smile as it stared at Yun-shun. Outside, the audience was in an uproar once more. The guy in gray stammered. What? What's going on? Senior Van always handles things without a direct fight, right? Why did it suddenly break? The girl with the headband added, and the goblin monarch is completely unharmed. Does this mean that even with blood rage, Senior Yun-shun can't break its defense? The berserk state, the person in brown added. Even so, Yinshin's stats must be incredibly high. Otherwise, his radiant light skill wouldn't have been able to blind the goblin monarch, and his speed wouldn't be that fast either. The dean in the broadcast room joined the discussion. It's because both his attribute values and the goblin monarchs are extremely high, and they both entered their respective blood, rage, and berserk states, causing their attribute values to skyrocket. John Shang continued. When stacked like that, a black iron grade war spear can't possibly withstand their combined force. The dean frowned, his eyes narrowing. This match should never have had a trash, tier black iron item in it. Jan Shang, do you understand what I'm saying? Jean Shan stammered fearfully. I'm sorry, he thought to himself. What's worse is that the duration of blood rage is already short, and now he can't even break through its defense. How is he supposed to fight now? If this top prodigy dies because of bad equipment, I'll be a sinner for the ages. Meanwhile, Yin Chun and the boss were still locked in a tense standoff. A system notification appeared. 13 seconds of blood rage remaining. Yin Chun thought grimly he had planned to finish the fight before the boss entered its berserk state. Who knew it would activate so quickly? This is tough. With so little time left, I have to find a way to break its defense. Thinking this, he jumped to his feet, drew the sword from his back, and used the main swordsman's skill sever. The system prompted 9 seconds of blood rage remaining. Just then, Yin Chun was slammed into a corner by the boss, panting in exhaustion. The girl with the headband cried out in panic. It's over. It's all over. Blood rage is about to run out, and he still hasn't broken its defense. Is he going to die? The guy in gray chimed in. Senior Yin Chun is also badly injured. If his spear had been just a slightly higher grade, this match would have ended a long time ago. Now even his sword is broken. He can't use his sword or magic skills now, John Shang added. And to make matters worse, he didn't have enough backpack space, so he couldn't bring any healing potions. Once he's injured, it means it's completely over. Just then, the boss raised its axe high, towering over Yin Chun with a look of pure triumph. Now you can die. 7 seconds of blood rage remained. Yin Chun looked up at the boss. Is that so? He then used the main tail skill, injecting vines, lashing out at the boss. The boss quickly severed the vines with its axe breaking free. A spectator in black stared wide-eyed. Now even Senior Yin Chun is just flailing wildly. The tail is a control focus class. Its main skills are not meant for attacking. The person beside him wondered, is this just a desperate struggle before he dies? The man in black added. But thinking about it, something seems odd. After the goblin monarch went berserk, it even used its neck to block the spear. So why did it dodge a simple vine? In the broadcast room, the dean laughed. He's figured it out. Yin Chun wiped the blood from his mouth and muttered. Logically speaking, every monster has a weak point, yet my weakness detection skill couldn't find any on you. He activated a piece of special equipment. 5 seconds left. His eyes glowed with a green light as he continued. Of course, the examiners wouldn't design a challenge that has no weak points. It's just that I hadn't discovered your weakness yet. As if refusing to listen, the boss roared nonsense. Yin Chun pressed on. Your weak point is hidden on your back, concealed by your cloak. Finishing his words, he executed the main martial artist skill. Fire Fist. He only had 3 seconds left. I'll use these last 3 seconds to deal with you, he thought. The boss breaking free said confidently. It's useless. Before it could get away, his attack was already closing in. 2 seconds of blood rage left. The excited audience leaped to their feet, roaring with cheers. He's about to win. Senior Yin Chun's attack is going to hit the boss's weak spot. Go on, Senior Yin Chun. You're the best. By the time the boss completely broke free, the Fire Fist was right upon it. It could only stare as it took the full impact of the flaming punch. The heavily wounded boss staggered and fell backward, but still scoffed with a smirk. An attack of this level can only knock me down. It can't cause any real damage. You have lost, Vanthan calmly retorted. Right back, haven't you? The duration of the blood rage also ended at this moment. Only then did the boss notice the sword standing upright right behind it. It wondered since when. Even though it noticed it could do nothing because the momentum of its fall was too strong, it was impaled through the heart by the protagonist's sword and died on the spot. Vanthan also fell backward. His hand trembled violently. Just as he regained his composure and stood up, the system sent a notification. Congratulations, Candidate Van, for successfully clearing the Dungeon Goblin City. Your difficulty level was Nightmare. Your clear time was 14 minutes and 47 seconds. Your college entrance exam score has been successfully recorded. Reminder from the audio assistant, the college entrance exam has concluded. You're about to receive your reward for clearing the difficult dungeon. The entire school erupted in cheers. He won. Senior Van defeated the Goblin Monarch. In total, he only used 20 seconds. He's too strong. He's the strongest before disappearing. The Goblin Monarch kept cursing. Damn it. Damn it. The dungeon notification sounded based on the dungeon difficulty plus clear time. Your evaluation is triple S rank. Congratulations on being confirmed as the first person recorded to clear this dungeon. Clear rewards 15,650 experience points, 20 free attribute points, 20 skill points. Congratulations on receiving the 1-star golden pauldrons, 1-star golden belt, 1-star gold gloves. Congratulations on receiving the title Goblin Slayer. Attack damage against the goblin race is increased by 25%. Vanthan felt his own power change, leveling up 3 times in a row and gaining 9 free attribute points, plus 9 skill points. What a wealth of EX for this is a first in history. The title of top scorer is practically in my hands, but I should stay humble until the results are out. The system continued to announce. As you are the first to clear it, you will unlock an achievement talent. Please choose one of the following 3 options. 1. Rapid casting. A rank reduces casting time and gestures. 2. Attack aura. A rank. Attack speed increases by 30%. Every third consecutive attack will have its damage increased by an additional 80%. 3. Indomitable. A rank. When critically injured, automatically increases attack power and speed by 100%. Vanthan considered his options. They were all excellent talents. To choose one of the 3, considering my overall strategy, choosing rapid casting is the most suitable. I'll pick that one. A stream of divine sense flashed and shot straight into the middle of Vanthan's forehead, causing a brilliant mark to appear there. System notification. You have received the A-rank talent rapid casting. Vanthan nodded slightly, his eyes sparkling with satisfaction. Now, let's see the effects of this new equipment, he muttered. They're all golden grade, far surpassing my black iron gear. 1-star golden belt increases constitution by 10 points, and strength by 5 points requires level 12. 1-star golden pauldrons increases constitution by 5 points, and strength by 15 points requires level 13. 1-star golden gauntlets increases strength by 30 points. Critical hit rate increases by 3%, requires level 10. The set effect of the 3 items is that 5 seconds after leaving combat. Based on one's own constitution, life force, mana, and stamina will continuously recover. Vanthan smiled. What a good set of items. If I were to fight the Goblin Monarch again, I bet I could take it down in just 5 seconds. Immediately after, he was teleported to the center of the square. As soon as he appeared, a giant question mark seemed to pop up above his head as cheers erupted from all directions. Vanthan, Senior Vanthan is out. Why are you just calling him Vanthan? It should be the Invincible Van. I love Vanthan. Vannan, the heartthrob of thousands. Vanthan was stunned by the chaotic scene, muttering, what is this situation? The Invincible Van then. What new title is this? The principal walked over his smile, radiant. Ha, Van, then you did very well. Behind him was a cameraman and a few teachers. Vanthan was bewildered. Principal teacher can too. The 2 men stood on either side, sandwiching Vanthan between them. Now, look at the camera. The cameraman immediately started filming from all angles. The principal slapped his shoulder hard. The results will be updated in 3 days, at the latest 7 days. I'll let you know as soon as I have news. Get some rest for the next few days. Vanthan nodded. Thank you, Principal. A sleek luxury car pulled up right where the principal's group was. The crowd in the stands immediately buzzed. The principal's car. The principal signaled the driver to take Vanthan home. Oh my God, who else gets this kind of treatment as expected of the Invincible Van than before getting in the car? The principal told him. Your result this time will at least be in the top 3 of the province. You might even be the top scorer. After it's announced, the rewards will be very generous. Go share the good news with your family. Vanthan replied, Yes, sir. The principal watched the car disappear into the distance, thinking to himself, as long as he wins the title of provincial top scorer, not only will Vanthan rise to prominence in 1 step, but Dongvan Academy will also gain the attention of the Education Bureau and receive countless resources. My name will also be carved into the history of education. A man in black ran up. Principal, a call from the Education Bureau. The principal smirked. Ah, faster than I thought. At Vanthan's home, when he stood at the door, it was already dusk. The dim yellow light from the old house cast upon him. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. I'm home. Van Duong, his younger sister, was busy preparing dinner. As soon as she saw him, she beamed and cried out, You're back just in time. I finished cooking. Come and eat. Today is your important college entrance exam day, so I made a lot of dishes. I even added some meat. It's delicious. Vanthan looked at his sister's busy figure, a mixed feeling welling up in his heart. In this life, father had fallen on the front lines against the monster hordes over 15 years ago. Mother worked hard to raise him and his sister, but she also passed away from illness a few years ago. The family lost its source of income. Now they only live on a subsidy. Even the equipment he used was old gear left by his mother. Over the years, so that he could focus on practicing his combat skills, Van Duong shouldered all the housework alone, no matter how much he tried to persuade her. The little girl was adamant about not letting him lift a finger. This girl is both stubborn and strong, he thought to himself. The only thing he could do was work 10 times, 100 times harder, to repay her. Fortunately, things are gradually getting better. Van Duong, her mouth full from chewing, asked, "How was your exam? Did it go smoothly?" Vanthan replied, "There were some problems, but overall it was pretty good." The principal said, "I'm guaranteed top 3. We just have to wait for the results to get the generous rewards." Van Duang's eyes lit up. "Really then? Can we eat meat once a week from now on?" Vanthan flicked her nose. "Silly girl. Not just once. We'll be able to eat meat every meal from now on." Van Duong got excited. "Meet me." Seeing his sister so happy, Van then made a resolution. "I will help you live a comfortable and happy life." 5 days later, while jogging for his daily quest, Vanthan opened the system interface. "For 5 days, I've completed my quests on time. I've earned a decent amount of skill points. University skill points are higher than high schools. The 7 universities will surely have basic skills for hidden classes. I must prepare well." He pushed the door and entered the house. "Hey, you're back." Van Duong rushed to hug him tightly. "Brother, the results are out. You ranked first. You're the top scorer." Van then teased. "Are you pulling my leg this time?" "It's true. Why haven't you received the news yet?" Van Duong handed him his phone. "You forgot your phone at home when you left this morning. Your phone has been ringing off the hook." "Oh, right." Van then checked. "Yeah, there are a lot." A call came in. He answered it. "Hello." The principal's voice on the other end was so loud, it almost deafened him. "Why didn't you pick up after so many calls?" "Never mind that. Get to the school right now. The recruiters are about to arrive. Get ready to choose a university." "Yes, sir." Vanthan was dazed. "Which school should I choose? I'm so excited." 3 years ago, in the talent testing room, Vanthan placed his hand on the testing stone. The result appeared. All-rounder. He was stunned. The surrounding students jeered. "Haha, all-rounder. What trash talent. It increases all basic skills of every profession. By 2 ranks. What's the use of that? Even if it was 3 ranks, it still couldn't compare to the advanced skills of a proper class. This kid is finished." The teacher comforted him. "Vanthan, don't be discouraged. A talent doesn't decide everything. If you don't have a good talent, just work hard and wait for your class change." That day, it was pouring rain. Vanthan trudged through the downpour, his heart heavy. "All-rounder. No matter how hard I try, is it all useless?" Just then, an electronic screen suddenly appeared before him. "You have activated the system. I will help you enhance the class you want to become the strongest in." Vanthan was stunned. "A system like in the comics? Is this real? What's the use of you showing up now? My talent is already far behind others." The system displayed another notification. "Please select the class you desire." Vanthan mused absent-mindedly. "Jobless. Is the unclassed a class too?" To his surprise, the system immediately confirmed. "Class the unclassed selected." Vanthan reminisced. 3 years have passed in a flash. Even on the unclassed, I still managed to become the provincial top scorer. I wonder what reward the system will give me. The system interface appeared. Achievement: first place in the Jiangnan Province College entrance exam. Based on the top 1 rank and the title of undefeated champion, the system is reviewing the mission completion reward. A series of notifications popped up. "Congratulations, your B-rank talent all-rounder has been upgraded to A+. All acquired skills can be raised by 3 ranks, with the highest reaching B+. You have received the God-tier skill Divine Strike STR. Congratulations, you have received the Divine Object 10 Rebirth Armor Strength. Congratulations, you have received the new talent Super Regeneration Strength. Congratulations, you have received 50 free attribute points. Congratulations, you have received 50 skill points." Vanthan was thrilled. What a generous reward, not to mention the skill and attribute points. My talent has upgraded, meaning all my skills can now exceed their level cap by 1 tier. A normal skill learned at E rank will become C rank with this talent. Now with an A+ talent, its maximum power can reach B+, even surpassing many class change skills. A new item appeared: 10 Amulets of Rebirth. When the owner dies, it is automatically consumed to find a safe place for revival. Vanthan cherished it as it gave him an incredibly precious extra life. 6 Super Regeneration. The body cells are enhanced with powerful vitality. It helps avoid most fatal wounds. Divine Blink. A god-level secret art allows teleportation across long distances in an instant. 7 Vanthan remarks. Super Regeneration is obviously amazing. As for Divine Blink, it's a versatile skill for both offense and defense. Both are extremely practical. With rewards like these, the system must want me to burst from fullness. 8. Yes. Fun Duong rushed in frantically. Brother, it's chaotic outside. News about you being the top scorer is everywhere. The Bureau of Education even sent us money. Yes. Vanthan held his phone. The Bureau of Education is one thing, but these companies are using me for advertising. Van Duang asked excitedly. Are we accepting all this money now? Yes, Vanthan instructed. Only accept the money from the Bureau of Education and reject all the rest. Money from unknown sources is the most dangerous. I'm heading to school now. The admissions officers have probably arrived. A student in front of the school gate, a bustling crowd of reporters conducting interviews, filming and live, streaming noisily. Hello, student. Are you in the same class as Van Den? What is your relationship with him? The student was able to be. The interview excitedly recounted, making the reporter raise his voice. What do you used to hang out with Van Den? Quick, tell us how Van Den goes to the toilet. Yes, Vanthan standing nearby broke out in a cold sweat. What is wrong with these reporters? Luckily, I came prepared. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be able to get through the school gate. My house is probably surrounded too. I wonder if Van Duong is okay. In the principal's office, he sat there with a smug expression. Ha! You all have come from the top universities in the country. Surely for the top scorer of our Dong Van Academy. Van Den, right? First, the teacher from Khan University, Alahoa, leisurely blew on the steam from his teacup. In a cold voice, he said, I've already asked the people here. I never expected your esteemed school to keep a classless student, a rare occurrence indeed, and even hype him up as the top scorer. He slammed the teacup on the table with an arrogant attitude. Have him choose a profession and undergo a class change immediately. Otherwise, he shouldn't even dream of setting foot in our Khan University. The principal frowned, his face darkening. Teacher, what do you mean by that? Van Den is the provincial top scorer. All the universities are fighting to recruit him, yet you want to reject him. Aloha sneered, his voice full of contempt. Doesn't everyone know that a classless person has no future? Even a top scorer is no exception. If he doesn't change his class, our Khan University doesn't want him. Dianu, a first-year student from Khan University, immediately chimed in to support his teacher. Teacher, don't be angry. Dongban is just a small academy in a remote area. A student from a place like this isn't worth your concern. He started to slander. This Vanthan must have used plenty of despicable tricks to become the top scorer, but it's all just child's play. First, Alahoa gave a faint smile and continued humph that Vanthan probably only managed to shine during this exam. This kind of person is not worthy of Khan University. The principal, red with anger, shouted, You brat, don't talk nonsense. How difficult the path of a classless person is. Why do you have to judge my Van? Then he is a true top scorer who didn't need any dirty tricks. Teacher Ahoa laughed contemptuously. Getting angry and want to get physical already. I advise you to calm down. A female teacher with a scar on her face crossed her arms and spoke coldly. Teacher Aongvan is after all an academy in our Jiangnan. Pushing people around like this. Do you think Jiangnan has no one to stand up for itself? Teacher Ahoa became even more arrogant. Another teacher quickly tried to intervene. Everyone, it's a misunderstanding. Let's not resort to violence. But the female teacher refused to back down. A student from Khan University being this arrogant and disrespectful. Do you think we're easy to bully? So what if I'm westernized and impolite? The principal roared. Stop arguing. Dian Nuyan Chao said smugly. Of course, I'm here to recruit, but we have our doubts. He curled his lip. The National University entrance exam is so crowded. Who knows how he managed to stand out? The door to the room burst open and Vanthan walked in, his voice, calm, yet sharp as ice. Are you trying to slander me? The head teacher exclaimed with joy. Vanthan, the principal, also smiled. He walked up to Diana Yancha, his gaze sharp. You are a student of Khan University. Now that I am here, would you like to see what tricks I use? Diana Yancha frowned. What do you want? Yes. Dian Nguyen Chao wagged his finger smugly. You're not allowed to back out now. Everyone heard it clearly. He challenged me. It's not me bullying him, right? The principal was deep in thought, worrying inwardly. This is too reckless. The opponent has undergone a class change and is level 19, while Vanthan is only level 13. How can he possibly fight? Everyone move to the training arena. Aloha Tuntit Nguyen Chao. He said he will defeat you in 5 moves. So just block his 5 moves and you'll be fine. Although it is a bit embarrassing. Diana Yin Chao crossed his arms confidently. Teacher, don't worry. I only need 3 moves. The head tier looked worriedly at the principal. Things have come to this. We can only hope Van Den can create a miracle. Diana Yin Chao drew his staff. I am a mage. Are you planning to use that staff or that broken sword? Do you want to fight as both a mage and a swordsman? No. Van Den shook his head. No, the sword is already broken. I can only use my mage form now, he said confidently. Even so, it's more than enough to defeat you. Dinu Yansha was furious. You want to defeat me with magic? How arrogant. He cast chant acceleration on his staff, looking pleased. It only takes 0.7 seconds to finish a chant. This brat can't be faster than me. But just as he was feeling smug, a massive, brilliant fireball shot straight towards him. Vanthan sneered. Is this all a student from Khan University has got? The head teacher was horrified. Heavens, he broke through directly with just one fireball. In less than 2 seconds, Vanthan fought a level 19 mage with magic and won an overwhelming victory. The teachers outside were amazed. Instant casting, even faster than a professional mage. That purple fireball is quite powerful. His main skill must have reached B rank. No, that is not right. His talent information says it is C rank. The principal beamed. His Omni talent has evolved. The head teacher recalled that during the competition, the fireball was still bright red. 6. The teacher from Jiangnan University mused. The weakness of a classless person is the difficulty in leveling up, leading to a large gap with those who have changed classes. But his talent has no level up restrictions and can even evolve. Combined with his versatile combat abilities, he is a true all-around genius. The teacher surrounded Vanden clamoring with offers. Vanan, come to our Dongfu University. We will give you 3 A rank resources. Tenbi University will give you 3 gold grade items. Just come to our Jing University. We will give you 5 A rank and B rank resources. One teacher shouted, Hey old dog, are you looking for a fight? Are you trying to go all out? Ahoa was embarrassed, but remained stubborn. Humph. So what if his talent evolved once? He still has no future. The other recruiters jeered. Ouch. Looks like someone is feeling the burn. Khan University probably doesn't dare to recruit anyone now. Your student is still sleeping on the ground over there. Aren't you going to pick him up? Alahoa turned and left in a huff. Other recruiters were gloating. Khan University lost face and skewered off. Just let them go. One turned to Vanthan. I will add another A-rank resource on my side. Come with me. I will arrange the female teachers for you. Vanthan scratched his nose awkwardly. The female teacher from Jiangnan University spoke up. Banana, you're the top scorer of Jiangnan province. Come to Jiangnan University. We will provide all the primary skill books for every class, not just from the Juanlong Kingdom, but also unique skills from other nations like the Fusang Kingdom's ninja, anoji, and samurai, or Western countries' witches, sorcerers, and vampires. If you achieve high results, I will request hidden skills for you. In addition, our forging and alchemy departments will create a multiform weapon specifically suited for a classless person. The other recruiters were stunned to hear this. Union University is really going all out. Skill books, hidden skills, a multiform weapon. All of them are rare items, and they're even suitable for a classless person. Vanthan's eyes lit up, his decision seemingly made. He shook the teacher's hand. I choose Jiangnan University. Ah, the other schools are so regretful. Choosing Jiang University was indeed the best fit. Why didn't I think of that? Vanthan expressed that while Jiang University is good, another reason is that it's close to home. If anything happens to Van Dong, I can still rush back in time. In the campus grounds behind the school, Van then activated Phantom Step. He bent his knees slightly and leaped to the top of the lakeside pavilion, continuously using Phantom Step. He moved from one place to another, finally leaning against a large tree branch, panting heavily. PHW, this divine skill is not easy to use, even though its speed and distance far exceed other skills. But the consumption is too great. The phone in his pocket beeped once. He opened it to see his account had received 5 million from the Jiangnan Provincial Department of Education, and his account had received 2 million from Dongyun Academy. Vanthan raised an eyebrow. 5 million and 2 million in scholarships. Not bad. The other rewards must have been sent home. Taking the opportunity to practice Phantom Step, he began to move his figure, flickering in and out of sight. A car glided to a gentle stop in front of Onan. The metal gleamed under the midday sun. The car door swung open and a man with a distinguished air stepped out. Hello, we are from Dangnan University. This is the weapon we promised you, a multiform weapon. Vanden raised an eyebrow slightly and reached out to open the box's lid. The light from the weapon inside shone out brilliantly and mesmerizingly. A 3-star demonic formation breaker strength attribute increased by 10. Intelligence increased by 10. Notably, this weapon can switch between 3 unique forms. In its battle gun form, physical power is increased by 35%, and armor penetration is enhanced. When transformed into a long sword, each slash inflicts an additional 25% bleeding effect. And in its scepter form, magic damage is increased by 35% along with superior armor penetration. Usage requirement, human race level 12. Available for the warrior swordsman, magic swordsman, and mage classes. Vanthan smiled in satisfaction, his eyes sparkling with joy. Just like this means I now have 3 Goldrade weapons. I finally don't need to carry so many around anymore. Thank you. The teacher nodded slightly. He replied in a gentle voice. You're being too polite. These weapons have been stored at the university for a long time. It seems they have finally found their master, and you will be able to use it for a very long time. Yes, he continued in a steady yet meaningful tone. Normally, weapons are graded from iron, bronze, silver, gold to platinum, and from diamond to legendary. Each item is also rated by its star level. As long as you're willing to invest in embedding gems to upgrade its star level, the weapon's power will increase by another tier. But you must be careful, as embedding gems is a risky action. If it fails, the weapon's quality might decrease. Vanthan nodded, his expression serious. Understood. I'll be careful. The teacher smiled and took a stack of skill books from the car's trunk, his eyes shining with excitement. This time, it's not just the weapon. We also brought rare skill books for various classes. Not too many, but enough for you to explore. Vanthan looked at the pile of books, his eyes glowing as if he had found a treasure. Wah, the teacher added. The rest will be used for course credit exemptions. The library's doors are always open to you. Then he took out another item, his voice solemn. On behalf of Dongyan City, besides a scholarship, the city is gifting you a villa. Here are the key and the acceptance papers. Vanthan was so engrossed in flipping through the skill books that he barely paid attention. A house he didn't care much. His entire focus was on the pile of books before him. Oh, this is a primary skill for warlocks. There's also one for demon hunters. What's this, a primary skill for a knight errant? Our country has such a rare class, too. Van Duong stood beside him, watching her brother, immersed in the books, and sighed wearily. 75 years ago, the game God's Domain was launched, attracting hundreds of millions of players. Many players did not choose the human race, but started as other races like elves, beastmen, or dwarves. When the game merged with reality, these bloodlines mixed with the player's own. But over time, marriages between ordinary people and those with special bloodlines created humans with mixed blood. The game system, from its class templates to its vast maps, NPCs and monster factions all integrated into the real world, causing the Earth to expand 10,000-fold. The terrain changed completely, and Dongyan City was just a tiny corner of it. It's rare to encounter other races here, but only by coming to Jiangnan University will I truly broaden my horizons about this world, Vanthan thought to himself. Over the next month, besides completing his daily quests, he devoted himself to studying. Not only did he master countless rare skills, he also practiced relentlessly. He completely mastered the demonic formation breaker. For the remaining half of the month, Vanthan took Van Duang to travel everywhere, exploring lands they had previously only dared to admire from a distance. The two siblings spent days filled with joy together. As the first day of school approached, Van Duang hugged her older brother tightly, tears streaming down her face. Boo-hoo, I'll miss you so much. Okay, Van then gently advised. If anything happens, call me immediately. If you need anything, just buy it. Don't go for the cheap stuff. We don't have to worry about money anymore. You're an 8th grader now, too. You have to take good care of yourself. Van Duang nodded obediently. Yes, you also have to eat and bathe on time. Vanthan smiled and waved goodbye. I have to go now. The goal is to be in the top 7 nationwide. This is truly eye-opening. At Jiangnan University, a girl approached to talk, her voice cheerful. Hello, you must be a new student. I'm in charge of registration here. Please give me your new student file. Vanthan handed over the file and replied curtly. Yes, here it is. The girl was slightly startled when she read the name Vanthan from Dongyan City. Whispers immediately broke out around them. What? He's that Vonin? The valedictorian of Jiangnan province for this year's university entrance exam. The legendary unclassed one. So this is what he looks like. I have to fight for his ranking no matter what. The girl continued, her voice tinged with a bit of the good treatment you're receiving will make many new students jealous, and it will also make you the center of attention. As usual, after the welcome ceremony for new students tomorrow, a competition for new students will be held 1 week later. At that time, countless people will want to seize your position. Jiangnan University gathers many geniuses from all over. Among them are valedictorians from other provinces, and even those you push down to the top 2 or top 3 spots in the entrance exam are looking to reclaim the top 1 position. You should be careful. The system suddenly announced a mission. The competition is about to take place. New mission. Maintain the top 1 ranking in the new student competition. Penalty for failure. None. Reward. Irang skill. Lucky drink. Vanthan clenched his fists, the corner of his mouth curling up. Then just let them come at me. The next day at the gate of Jiangnan University, The atmosphere was bustling with the whispers of new students. See that? That guy is the valedictorian, the unclassed Vanthan. Last night, he was in the villa on the mountain, while we could only stay on the mountainside being looked down upon by him. It's so annoying. Vanthan heard the words, spoken deliberately loud to provoke him, but he just smiled silently. I'm not convinced. That's right. He definitely cheated on the exam. I'm a provincial valedictorian, too. On what grounds am I ranked below him? Just an unclassed with no class transfer. I only need one finger to take him down. Shintan, the valedictorian of Dao Province and a Blood Knight, spoke up. If you're not convinced, you can compete and challenge him instead of complaining here. Mi Qingling, the valedictorian of Donglin Province and a hidden Taoist, also chimed in. That's right. Talking behind someone's back is not okay. Xiao Huangfong, the top 2 from Jiangnan Province, a rare burst mage class user, appeared bitter. That guy stole the top 1 spot from me. Stop pretending. Just you wait. After the tournament, I'll have a match and drag him down. Inside the academic building, the dean of the War Academy, Yan Fu, spoke in a gentle tone. It seems you all care a lot about the rankings, huh? Everyone is in an uproar. A teacher beside him added, I heard from a student council that they are very dissatisfied with Vanthan being at the top 1 spot, believing he has an advantage due to his local residency. Yan Fu shook his head slightly, unconcerned. These kids really underestimate my judgment. All the deans have reviewed the footage from the university entrance exam. Each of them has their own calculations. The dean of the Weaponry Academy, the Iceberg Queen Xiang Chun, walked in her voice, cold but firm. Vanthan's combat skills are not bad. His combat intuition is like mine, and he can use multiple types of weapons. I've already claimed him. The surrounding teachers exclaimed in surprise. It's the first time we've seen Dean Xia take such an interest in a student. She's usually as cold as ice and a woman of few words, earning her the nickname Iceberg Queen. But Vanthan is a good seed, and we won't give him up easily. Yanfa looked through the glass window and laughed loudly. Not only are the students paying attention to him, but the instructors are also fighting over him. If that's the case, we'll have to speed things up. He struck his staff hard on the floor and instantly appeared before the new students using a teleportation spell. Vonden thought to himself, according to the student handbook, among the 5 Mais, the War Academy is the strongest, and he is its dean. Yamfu. He spoke, his voice echoing. This old man understands all the grievances and dissatisfaction of the new students. Therefore, I have decided to move the competition forward. Everyone, prepare. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, come to Union Square to begin the combat assessment. The new students responded in unison, yes. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon at Yunnan Square, a Taoist priestess exclaimed in awe, wow, it's the Great Gate of the Silver Secret Realm. This is the first time I've ever seen it. A classmate nodded. His reputation is truly well-deserved. Shu Huangfun crossed his arms, his voice full of confidence. I heard that all secret realms are controlled by government agencies, and the more